Hello, and welcome back to this finale of our Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle Bloom in Blood. I'm your storyteller for tonight's Chronicle, Gilbert Ramos, aka Ramos the Nomad on all the social media. I'm the CEO and founder of Rolling Nomads, and I think this is the first time I've actually done a proper introduction for this entirety of the series. This, of course, is Bloom in Blood, our Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle, right here on Rolling Nomads, and I have no further announcements, so let's go ahead and get to the people you're actually here to see, our players. So we'll jump over to my left, Friday.
Every time you say we're here to see the players, I'm just holding a gun to your head and I'm going to say, actually, we're also here for you because you are just as much of a player telling the story with us. And my God, what a story it's been. But yet, I'm Abby, your local dinner nerd, and tonight I am going to be your local gargoyle, Friday. And oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, that is all.
Indeed, it is a blessing to have Abby. We moved heaven and earth to get everybody here tonight, it feels like. So we're out here, gang. We're going to do this thing. Moving up to my top right, Kaida.
Hello, everyone. I am so excited for you guys to see what happens next, because we don't know what's happening next either. But tonight I will be playing Kaida Arden, Phoenix's only and favorite Samitsi.
Only is to be determined. Favorite, I think that we're getting to that point. I think we can pretty firmly say that at this point. Moving down to my bottom left, Lola.
Hi, I'm Luna, or Druid by Night. You can find me at Druid by Night on most social media platforms, including on Twitch, where I stream. And for this time zone, for this game, I will be playing one Lola Torres, Planet of the Moon, Child of Malkov, Crash Out Queen.
Hell yeah. We did in fact see a couple crash outs in the past couple episodes. I'm very excited for that. And the repercussions of that. So moving over to our last, but not least by bottom right, Remy.
Hello, this is Astrus VTuber, or Aster, and tonight I am playing Remy, who is looking by the end of the night to take over the city, or just take it off of the current prince's hands, and all he will say on that is, "You're welcome."
Abso-fucking-lutely. Alright, gang. Hell yeah. Glad to have everyone here. Glad you guys are here. Let's jump into tonight's finale of Bloom in Blood. And we begin each episode, as we always do, with a recap. Now, I said that eventually I would begin calling on players for a recap. That has not happened. That has not happened even up to the finale. So let's finish this out as we began. Your recap will be provided by me, yours truly. So it's a time. Last we saw our kindred. They had regrouped, gathering up Lola from Weaver's Needle, and had some conversations along the way with their new companion Dominic Talik, and in order to ascertain what the goals were of this Mithras Reborn, the heir to the Sun God. Some politics went on, and ultimately Dominic Talik and his Mithram were welcomed into what the city would become. As they regrouped, however, they understood and gathered that Lola had crashed a vehicle outside of Weaver's Needle, which Remy had called a contact inside the city to clean this up and sort of do a brief cover-up. Upon finding Lola and gathering what happened exactly, Lola simply stated that she had killed Eve. There were some mixed reactions amongst the Coterie about what this meant and what exactly happened to Bianca, but it is understood that Bianca is gone. For good, fully, and has met final death. As the Coterie had gathered up, they received a phone call from Elena, who demanded the remnants, or rather the contents of the crate, thinking that it was her former lover, Luis Duarte, one of the previous barons before the time of Camarilla Phoenix into the time of Anarch Phoenix. It appeared that Elena had been told by Montalvo that one of these crates, contained her former lover. So, calling the Coterie, making a pretty clear threat, as she revealed that she had Nathaniel with her, and that is where Nathaniel had disappeared to during the raid on the SI convoy. The Coterie, having 30 minutes as the time frame that Elena had given them before she started cutting Nathaniel into pieces, made their way to meet her under the bridge that goes over Old Town, like an hour drive that they did not really push to shorten the time. They arrived under the bridge and met with Elena, who revealed that Nathaniel was not alive, as most vampires truly aren't, but in a working order. He had been very clearly tortured, with several of his limbs kind of cut away, and his eyes gouged out, and his tongue also cut out. After some negotiation, they convinced Elena to stand down, or had convinced her to cease this course of action, as they explained that Luis Doherty was not in the crates, and that she had been lied to. As she grappled with this fact, Shay, the Keeper of Elysium and companion to Friday, snuck up behind her, gathered control of her weapons, and bid her to basically stop what she was doing, and called her out for almost lighting one of their kind on fire. Shay explained to the Coterie that Montalvo was out of control, and that he had been trying to steer him on a proper path for some time now, but now could see that there was no coming back. He explained that Montalvo stood alone now, and was remaining in his haven on Camelback Mountain, at a place called Copenhaver Castle, or Camelback Castle if you are local, and bid the Coterie to put an end to his reign tonight. That is where we last saw our Coterie, as Dominic Talik offered to provide some support to their efforts. The Coterie gathered up into one vehicle, as Dominic Talik, Rene Cortez, and the Mithraeum gathered into another, as the groups headed up to Camelback Mountain to confront the Dragon of Phoenix. This is where we join our Coterie now, together, in one vehicle. Tonight, Phoenix changes. Tonight, everything changes. I turn it over to all of you for conversation, for any brief conversation you guys might need or wish to have before reaching your destination.
I think Lola is decidedly silent, and her leg is kind of bouncing. Small affectation of anxiety from she was human. Yeah, there's really nothing that she could say that she hasn't already said from her vision from before. But she keeps thinking about the puppeteer in the sky and the silver cord. What could that mean?
I was in the front seat where Remy is driving, and there's a point where she unbuckles her seatbelt and she starts to crawl past the back seats into the trunk, and you can hear her messing around with something like a bag, and she just starts taking out weapons and lining them up, and she will say, "What kind of implements would everyone like?"
I have my own, and I'll always use that before anything else.
Friday's been looking out the window, much like a little kid, probably imagining figures jumping, going over the landscape. And at Kaida's offer, she'll say, "What we did for the raid the other time."
Wonderful. Lola.
I still have what I got from last time as well. I have I'm better with, mind stuff.
She will reach down and she's going to grab an extra magazine for the handgun that Lola previously had taken from her, just in case. And she will then crawl back over the seat so that she is sitting between the two girls, and will look at Friday and hold out her hands for her hands.
Shyly, she'll just put her hands in hers. Looks like she wants to say something. Her eyes dart around before she finally settles. You can feel her hands relaxing into yours. But just thank you for being here.
I will always be here for you. Do not forget it. And she's going to use her flesh crafting to reinstate those bladed claws onto Friday, which is a rouse check. We're good. We don't get hungrier. You guys hear the cracking of Friday's stone-like skin, the sound of viscous fluids as she stitches these claws onto you. And there's a little symbol that is put on the knuckle of these claws. And it is the same symbol that you saw appear when Kaida did her horrid form. And it is Kaida's silent way of claiming Friday as hers, as her daughter.
I think when you're done, Friday is going to give Kaida's hand a little squeeze as the pain, the ichor, everything melts into one terrible weapon. 3 gentle little squeezes. ILY. I think the meaning comes across even if she can't find the words to say.
The meaning is understood. She turns to look at Lola and sees her in that deep, pensive place. And she sort of face forward, and without actually looking at her, she just slides her hand underneath Lola's chin and lifts it.
As we head towards our destination, and all of this is happening, just kind of, Remy stays silent for a little bit, and then suddenly, my sire did mention that as Nephilim we seek perfection, beauty in all things, but perfect beauty stands above all rest. I disagree. You are all perfection to me. Everything that we've done together and the bond that we share, the bond that every one of us share in this city, that's the perfection that we need. Unity. And striving to be something better towards that goal, not getting pushed down, not getting oppressed, not being controlled. And that is what we're here to do today. Not to rid Phoenix, not just to rid Phoenix of a sore, but to begin anew. Together.
And unfortunately, Remy, if anyone replies, you don't quite hear it. Your words, to begin anew, together, hearken you back to a time before you were kindred. For a brief flash as you drive, you remember. What do you think the memory is, Remy, that these words spark?
Remy remembers a time being crammed in a boat with nothing but just a sack to start anew, in a new country, across the world, in a place where he could potentially earn some money for his family. But the memory is fuzzy. It's not complete. There are faces that want to be faces but are blank. Names that want to form but they don't. Hell, he doesn't even remember his own name. He remembers landing. Remembers being piled into this small recruitment office. Just wooden shed. Remembers not speaking the language. Remembers the explosives, the dynamite he was handed when they needed to clear a path for a new railroad they were building. He remembers just when his own words, not speaking the language, didn't stop the people from outside detonating the charges when he was still inside. He remembers crying out underneath the rubble. The rest, well, the rest was the actual new beginning.
It's a flash, a brief slideshow almost of your life up to this point. Key points and moments, some that you had long forgotten. But the beginning of it was the words together. And though you don't remember how many you were with, or whose hands you were holding, you didn't start this journey alone, Remy. And you won't be finishing it alone either.
Doesn't seem like it. As Remy continues to drive and vision kind of comes back, the last memory was that labored breath, gasping as oxygen did not flow. And then, with one final gasp, we're here.
Indeed. Camelback Castle, also known as Copenhagen Castle, is a unique medieval style mansion built by one Dr. Mort Copenhagen, a Phoenix orthodontist who spent 12 years rebuilding it, starting in the late 1960s, using stone from the mountain itself. It features 20 plus rooms, dungeons, secret passages, and even a drawbridge. It's designed to be part of the mountain with quarried stone and was designed to host lavish parties before falling into foreclosure and then undergoing restoration. It remains a private residence, but it is indeed a famous landmark for hikers. The rumor is that it will eventually be opened for public tours. But that rumor has been going on since it was acquired in the late 1980s after Dr. Copenhagen lost it in bankruptcy. It's a place that is outside of Phoenix. Not in the physical sense. Camelback Mountain is pretty central in the metropolitan area. but it doesn't belong here, really. As I said, it's a medieval-style castle in the middle of Phoenix. As you drive up, you can see chain link fence set up to deter anyone who might be looking to get a closer look has been cut through. As well, there are tire tracks. Settling dust still as you drive up and move across the drawbridge. I'd like everyone to give me a wits and awareness roll, please.
I would like to activate Sense the Unseen.
By all means.
6 successes.
2 successes with a hanging bestial failure.
5 successes.
4 successes with the Hanging Bestial.
So I have 6, 5, 4, and 2. Understood. So for my 6, 5, and 4, what you see is the castle itself. Remy, this is very clearly to you as well, even with the 2 with the bestial. You all see the castle. You see that it is out of place. It's the mixture of medieval style along with the modern construction and scaffolding in certain areas. There's glass along the edge. You can see as it outlooks the skyline of Phoenix. There's a pool, you think, around the edge. Modern glass and modern light fixtures that give illumination to some of the windows and things. Dimly lit, so it doesn't obstruct the beauty of the mountain, I suppose, in their nighttime. For my 6, 5, and 4, you also see along the edges, on the walkways and shoved off into the desert foliage and bristles, bodies, corpses of what look like fine security personnel. And Lola, with Sense the Unseen, you can see an individual crouching over one drinking. And they look up as your car moves. A grin on their face. Slicked back hair. They don't wave or anything like that. But they wield a sword at their left. You've never seen this person.
Is someone already here? Someone with a sword drinking from the corpses? I guess they're invisible.
They are obfuscated because we can't see them, but Lola can with her Sense the Unseen, yes?
Correct.
Lola.
Yeah.
See if you can reach out. It might be one of your own.
Okay. No, I'm not doing that. And then she will close her eyes and attempt to connect to the network.
Connecting to the cobweb.
Yes.
Do you have anything specific you'd like to do here?
Find the closest child of Malcolm.
Is there any ability or power you'd like to activate with this? Anything from a lore sheet?
Nothing. I don't have any lore sheet benefits aside. The only Malkavian I know very well is Therese Warman. And I have her lore sheet, but I could use premonition if that would help.
It might. So go ahead and give me that premonition roll. Remy, for you, with your bestial, unfortunately, you don't witness the corpses. What you are fixed on as you drive up is the sculpture at the center of this fountain. There's this sort of circular driveway. You are suffering a compulsion, specifically the Toreador compulsion of obsession. For mechanical purposes, enraptured by beauty, the vampire becomes temporarily obsessed with a singular, gorgeous thing, able to think of nothing else. Pick one feature, such as a person, a song, an artwork, blood spatter, or even a sunrise. Enraptured, the vampire can hardly take their attention from it, and if spoken to, they only talk about that subject. Any other actions receive a 2 dice penalty. This compulsion lasts until they can no longer perceive the beloved object or the scene ends. The sculpture itself, Remy, is a simple thing. It's maybe copper or brass, but it sits, and it is nothing overly beautiful. Doesn't seem like anything that would be within the Hesperus or anything that you own or would display. But something about it is just gorgeous. It is a hand pointing toward the sky. It sort of severs at the forearm. It's almost like the painting of God and Adam reaching out, but it's just a hand reaching toward the sky. So there was the result of your roll.
2 with a hanging bestial.
2 with a hanging bestial. 2 with a hanging bestial, and being in the direct presence of children of Malkov. The only thing I can give you with this premonition is that there are children of Malkov here, and what you continuously get in this premonition is just a cacophony of voices repeating, clear the path, clear the path, clear the path, clear the path, clear the path.
I think Lola would start to mutter that exact phrase, clear the path, with her eyes closed. And then her eyes would open and she'd say, they're here. There's Malkavians here. Why are they here?
Perhaps your sire sent them. They were also on the chessboard, were they not?
They were. They were.
Well, in we go. And she sort of ushers the 2 girls forward and briefly stops when she sees Remy is still looking at this statue.
I parked directly next to the statue, and I think the first thing I'll do is just take a small finger and just flick at it and hear the resonance and see if there's anything to the tinge of the metal, and just linger a little bit as I look up at the finger and then look up at where it's pointing.
It points toward the moon, reaching for the night. It doesn't ring out, really. It's solid, which is different for sculptures. Most of the time there's a hollow aspect to it, saving material, saving on costs, but no, this is solid copper. As if carved from marble, it's a solid chunk of copper.
Interesting. Kind of put a hand on the copper a little bit, and then slightly brush against it. I'm taking this when we're done.
I think you just hear the sound of a car door being pulled on, because I think Remy walked out of the car quite immediately and did not open the passenger side. And Friday's just...
Ida will lean over the front and unlock it.
Thanks about...
As we get out, her head tilts as she looks at Remy. I am a collector myself, far be it for me to deny what one wishes to possess. But do remember, Remy, a lot of the angels fell.
Yes, there's always that threat. But they weren't careful. Well, I try to be most of the time, but there's always beats that you should allow yourself. I kind of close my eyes and then turn towards the door and just Out of sight, out of mind.
As you all approach the doors, heavy double doors, they lead into an interior sort of small courtyard. It's not lavish as most European castles would be. It's not expansive as would contain a large garden to walk through and plot and scheme. But leads into a small entryway. The double doors to the household are made of wrought iron curves and glass, and they are shattered, broken open. You can see in blood there is a mark strewn about on the floor. Using a single finger, someone has written something or painted something here. But I would like to roll wits and occult.
I'm going to rouse the blood, but before I do that, I'd like to know, because I have a specialty in Bahari lore. Is this symbol, would that apply?
It would not apply.
Okay. We're good.
Is the symbol glowing? Or look at
Using Sense the Unseen?
Yes.
There's a slight orangish, almost like sunlight glow coming from it, yes.
6 successes.
6 successes. Anyone else have a roll that they'd like to follow up? Understood. With 6 successes, kind of. It's not that you recognize the symbol, really. It's more so that you understand its meaning. It's not anything to anybody else. It kind of just looks like a smudge or 2 figures, perhaps. There are 3 sections of this that someone has scrawled out. One, above it all, is that of the sun, with multiple sort of waves off of a sphere, off of a circle. Above the 2, as you kind of look at the intricacies and the details of it, Kaida, you can see a man cutting the throat of a bull. The bull god, the sun god. The Mithraeum is here, as well as the children of Malkov.
We are walking into battle indeed. It seems the Mithraean got ahead of us.
Apologies for
people
taking
knowing
the
that
scenic
they were
route then.
So they knew we were coming and came anyways.
They said they would support. They would provide support. I suppose this is their way.
Was expecting more guns and arms and claws, but well, mysterious drawing in blood on a door is moral support? Yeah, moral support.
Well, I did take the scenic route, and to be fair, we weren't very close. So if they were closer, I'll just let that thought linger as I continue forward.
I think
Freddie will hold up a hand. Oh, go ahead. You go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say all Lola's doing is she's constantly looking around with her sense the unseen.
Understood. I'll keep that
Checking
in
every
mind.
corner.
Freddie's just gently going to put her, I imagine, terribly mangled, horrifying looking hand on Remy's chest. Don't know if there's any traps in there. How do you let me check it out first? Or at the very least let me get caught. I'm pretty good at figuring my way out of those things.
Just kind of let her go.
I'll activate Skin of the Chameleon and slither on in.
Understood. And Skin of the Chameleon is a rouse check?
Yes.
It's been 10 sessions. I should know this by now.
It's so fine. I'm using a homebrew to be entirely fair. Friday's not hungry, thankfully.
So with a success on the rouse check, you activate Skin of the Chameleon. Only Lola can really see you as you slink into the castle itself. Are the rest of you proceeding forward or holding here?
I'll wait.
Friday has requested to check it out first, so we will respect her choice.
Friday, a wits and awareness roll, please, as well as a wits and insight, if you would kindly. Let's have the awareness roll first, though.
Do the awareness first. That's nice. That is going to be 5 on a critical.
5 on a critical for the awareness roll. You find that there are more of these security personnel dead. Montalvo took his security very seriously, and there are corpses here on the outermost layers, the obvious passageways into this place. Now, as you look around and you find the remnants of what look like soldiers of the Mithraeum, there are not dozens of them. There are only a few scattered. And sort of take a moment and have a cigarette, or sort of look at their victim. As you gather this up, you hear sounds and grunts, sounds of combat that are deeper into the castle. As I stated, it's 20 plus rooms along with secret passageways. Let's have a wits insight, see how well you navigate.
That's most autistic creature is rolling wits and insight. Let's go, 3 dice. I'm gonna roll one at a time just for dramatic effect.
You may feel free to rouse the blood if you wish.
You know what? That's a good idea. Let's do that, actually. I'll use my buffalo bone die for that. Let's rouse. Alright, we're not getting hungrier. 3 successes.
3 successes. 3 successes is decent, Friday. However, with secret passageways, hidden areas, and 20 plus rooms, not quite enough to navigate this place and figure out where you think the pathway to Montalvo is. However, I'll allow you to win at a cost. However, you might see something that you shouldn't see.
Can't dangle that delicious treat in front of me like that, storyteller. I'll take the cost.
You maneuver. You find an entryway to a secret passage. There is art here. Montalvo's home is decorated. Modern things. Paintings that are abstract and that you would find in an art gallery. Things from old worlds. Well, even along the secret passageways, there's a narrow space where you'd have to single file walk. In one of these, you can hear him talking. He's on the phone with someone. He continues, says, "They're here. They're killing my men. I'll handle it myself. I have to know. Tell me this is the end. Tell me this is finished. Please." Before I can really hear the rest of the conversation, there's a sort of shifting, a movement. Down the hall you hear a sort of labored groan. And you move. And there's a creature. Some sort of amalgamation of flesh and sinew. Made of bone and fat. It lurches forward, moving, craning its long neck, about 3 feet long, looking down the hall. Its jaw elongates as it groans once more and looms back. It rests. It waits. It stands guard. Not over Montalvo. Over something in his collection. In a glass case. Almost like a coffin. Up against the wall, hanging. One would hang a picture or a prize comic book. Suspended in this glass case is a man. Long dark hair, a scraggly bit of facial hair. A stake in his heart, the black suit, the red undershirt. Is Teodoro Herrera. And this creature curls around the foot of this glass case and waits for any who might approach. What would you like to do, Friday?
Friday is just going to look at this very handsome man, by the way. He is stunning. Look at this creature. Look at the stake in his heart. I think she immediately thinks of her sire. He's asleep. He doesn't know he's here. He doesn't care that she's here. Neither does she. What is he doing for her right now? There are people outside waiting for me, so as this thing groans and heaves every breath, Friday is just going to, I imagine she's on the ceiling, just gecko her way out and come back. And by the time she breaks obfuscation, the Coterie just sees she's shaking, she is wide-eyed, and all the words she can get out. They're all dead except for his pet. It's huge. I didn't know meat could move like that.
Sounds like something you would know more information about. As I kind of look over to Kaida.
Yes.
What I can do can be used on others in more ways than I have shown. My clan can create things primarily for war. Abominations, flesh, Frankenstein together. For whatever our purposes are, it sounds to me like perhaps Montalvo has something worth protecting.
Yes,
Whoa.
it was someone. He has someone in there. And she'll give the description, looking to see if there's any recognition at all.
Remy
Kaida
does.
will look at Remy.
I'll gotta give a look to Lola. I'm just... Sound familiar to you?
Yeah, Nathaniel the Idol.
Teodoro.
Yeah.
He was the head of the Anarchs, was he not?
Former. But yes.
Well, tell me, Prince Remy, do you see Teodoro being someone who would adhere to the world we are trying to create?
Storyteller, how... Seeing as how Remy has been there the entire time throughout his... Mostly the entire time throughout his reign, what would be some of the things that like stand out to me the most about Teodoro?
Yeah, absolutely. So, for your knowledge and for the viewer's knowledge, because outside of character and outside of the table, what y'all don't know as viewers is I've written out a lot of lore for Phoenix for my players to peek through, and this is a very rare opportunity for me to gush about Teodoro Herrera because I love him. Teodoro Herrera you would have known from your time here, is a freedom fighter. Was a freedom fighter even when he was alive, when he was a mortal man. He came from Mexico and settled here after he was embraced, and continued to fight. He is a man that holds strict moralities and virtues. And although gruff, was always viewed as firm but fair. And it's how he earned the name, sort of the nickname Tío Herrera, was he was everybody's uncle. And there, of course, are those that there were those that during Anarch Phoenix that kind of gruffed up against him, and he was inclined to sort of have to take a firmer hand and you know, put the beat down on people. He is a gangrel and prone to certain bestialities. He is firm but fair, and likely in terms of the question of how would he view all of you and what your vision is. That was once his vision as well. He wanted a united Anarch Phoenix. It's what he killed the previous prince for. And all the baronies, all of the warring territories, he did his absolute best to try to keep everyone in line so that there could continue to be a free Anarch Phoenix. When the SI came, he was more inclined, and maybe this is him being outdated, to face them head on and fight. He was going to just go charge in and do combat. He was convinced by Lydia and a few others to sort of play this a little more smart, have a little more strategy to it, and lure them into one barony, Luis Duarte's barony, and just have them hit specific havens that were empty and give the SI a win, and take them out little by little, hopefully wearing them down over time. He didn't like it. He hated every bit of it. He hated having to be so fucking sneaky, but he acquiesced to his counsel. He was fighting for Phoenix against the SI and fighting to keep his city, what he viewed as all of the kindred of this city. He was fighting to keep it safe and free.
We get him out of there. As for unstaking him, that will be a different story altogether. And we will see. But our goals tonight remain undeterred.
Good. Did you see Montalvo Friday?
Heard him, more like. He seemed pretty worried. Said that someone had killed all his men, and he was talking to someone, asking if this was going to be it, if it was over.
A puppeteer in the sky.
A sire, maybe?
Perhaps. Kaida will then... She looks at her coterie for a moment. These people that have become far more important to her than I think even she originally intended. And she smiles. It is the most serene look that she has ever had on her face. And then she turns away from them and steps deeper into the castle. And maybe it's a sense of someone else of her clan. She doesn't know. But she follows instinct on where he is, where he would put himself. Especially given all the combat kind of chaos that is happening within the castle. She wants to be the front line.
Understood. With the with Friday's knowledge, having creeped into the castle further, you know the path you could take to if Friday's going to share, would know the path you would take to get to Montalvo, at least where he was. The thin passageway really has very few areas in which he could walk, as well as this premonition might last only for the scene, but with your sense of the unseen and the fact that you have premonition that encourages players or encourages an ST to let players know when they might be walking into danger. I think that all of you have a pretty hefty bag of tools to go into this castle. And as you walk, as Kaida leads the charge, Friday, do you give the roadway, the pathway?
Absolutely. Bodies are great. Landmarks.
Lily, you get flashes here and there. Warm spots and cold spots, which is strange because you don't really get warm or cold. With Friday and you can guide Kaida as she leads the charge. Remy, is there anything that you'd like to do along the way as you all travel deeper within the castle?
Would like to see if there are any like signs of life on in our path. Just to make sure. But besides that, I'll just follow along silently.
Anything special you'd like to use for this?
No.
Go ahead and give me a wits and awareness roll, please.
4 on a crit.
4 on a crit. Signs of life, yes. There are, well, for the most part, it's unlife. And as Lola guides you or points out the hot and cold spots, and Friday guides the path toward where Montalvo was, and Kaida leads the charge, you take a moment, you peek where you would have gone if Lola had said not to go there. And there's Kindred locked in combat with living, mortal security. You see that there are, for most of them, they aren't playing with their food. And you recognize a few faces here. The Malkavians of Phoenix. The ones that do play with their food, though, you don't recognize their faces. There's a grin on their face, and they wield old weapons. They wield insignias and medals. Soldiers of the Mithraeum. Ones that are using this as sort of practice, it looks like. You
I'll
all
leave
move.
them to it. No, just continue.
You all move. Eventually, deep, what you think might be into the mountain itself, the passageway leads. And where Friday points out that this is where he was, Kaida takes a step, and Lola, that's not where he is. You can see almost a trail along, leading elsewhere. Footsteps that turn bloodied.
Listen. Are we in the passageway? Better question. Do we hear the groaning as we're following the trail that Friday has laid forth?
You do.
Okay. So instead of talking, I'm gonna point in the direction of of what I see and just do that walking motion.
Kaida kind of gets into almost like it's not quite a fighting stance, but something like it. And she is going to activate feral weapons just in case, which I believe is a rouse check. We're good.
Understood. Noel, as you point out the path, following these bloodied footprints, this is where things become stranger. The scent of blood begins to become stronger for all of you, as it's not just mortal blood that was spilled, it's vitae. A combatant has pushed back. Blood splatters across the halls and on the floor. I need everyone to make me a rouse check.
I get hungry.
Pass it a 7.
Success from Friday, success from Kaido. Remy? Success from Remy. Well, what does that bring your hunger to?
4.
4. You smell it. It's sweet. It's familiar. Blood of the moon. The oracle's blood. And you hear her voice. So many of ours will be killed tonight. But you have to be quicker. Maybe, just maybe, they could die for a reason. They could die to slake your hunger. And you can be an asset tonight. You can be the one that kills the dragon.
I think Lola will bite her lip, and so she doesn't speak, so she doesn't give away where they are. But in her mind, she replies, "Not a monster. Not a monster. I'm not gonna do that."
Lola, dear, look around you. We're all monsters. And you step out, all of you, into a space that is almost completely black. Black marble with white lines streaking across the floor. Volcanic, hard, carved rock. A pool in the center that is thin and oval, almost like an eye. Filled with still water. Until a body is dropped in. And you see a man facing a glass panel of windows looking out at Phoenix. He had tossed this body from his side and looked out now toward the city. A thin man. The black suit with red trim. Turns as your footsteps reach his ears. He wields what looks like just a simple handgun, with a suppressor on it, and looks like a large hunting knife. The body that he has thrown into the pool stains the water, and it doesn't shrivel, doesn't age a mortal. As he turns to look at all of you, there's blood on his face. My Primogen. Welcome. I was not expecting your coterie. I'm afraid I don't have many refreshments to offer. But please, sit, if you will.
I think Lola is hungry and just staring. Her eyes are darting from his mouth to the body. She's trying to compose herself.
Where's the closest seat?
It looks like this pool is not meant for swimming or anything like that. It's more of a reflecting, sit by and sort of have a scenery, but the closest seats are along the edge. They are not like the typical outdoor pool furniture you would see, but these are fine leather chairs and high-backed wooden and leather chairs, fine craft and fine make.
I'll kind of walk to the side of one of the chairs and just. No, I prefer standing for this occasion. How are you tonight, Prince Montalvo?
As I'm sure you've seen on your way in. My nights have been better, Remy.
Indeed.
To what do I owe the pleasure? And he looks to you, Kaida.
Kaida is staring at him hard, and the kind of serene expression she had before vanishes to something much more aggressive. And she looks at him and says, "What did you do?"
Please, I'm afraid that you might have to be
Yes.
more specific. But I am a creature of habit. If I might offer, I may be able to drum up some refreshments. Good evening, Friday. How is the Renaissance treating you? He smiles.
I want so much to believe that smile is genuine, but it feels like looking at the bared teeth of a cornered dog. She will nod. It's fine. Fedemaster is settling in well, despite arson attempts.
Is that where he ended up?
Under my sanctuary. He had a very interesting story about you in the Second Inquisition.
Ah, incredibly kind of you to hold him.
Speaking of that story, what of it? You consorting with the Second Inquisition, consorting with the Sabbat. What remaining Sabbat there were, seeking Elysium. Were all of that part of your domain to welcome?
Apologies, I had not under the impression you had come with an inquisition of your own.
Your curiosities, I would say.
Kaida, you can see he's forcing himself. Something's wrong. You've had this happen, though, before. This is him fighting a compulsion in your blood. He was intending to play the host. And Remy's jumping right to it. No niceties. No one has even asked him how his well, they've asked how his night is going, but no one's really inquired anything else about him or complimented his home or come with a gift.
Kaida smiles. She steps forward, getting closer and closer to him as she speaks. I do love this place. Such a beautiful home you have. Shame that I was never invited.
I suppose you must think it rude, all of you. But I had to keep things careful. So many
As we all.
whispers about me, as we had previously discussed, Kaida. So many prying eyes. It's hard to know who to trust, and even now, I'm left to wonder. Was it always the plan of the clan of the moon, the oracles, the children of Malkov, to storm the castle and slay the dragon? Was this always the wish and hope? Do you fancy yourself as a knight, Miss Torres?
No, not a knight. But someone who really needs to know why all these whispers about you ended up being true. I want to hear it from your mouth.
True. To come into someone's home and to levy accusations is truly...
We know. We know about the Sabbat at the mall. We know about your corroborations with the Second Inquisition. I know why you made me Primogen. It wasn't because I was qualified. Because you wanted my sire to come out from hiding.
It's true. And she was smarter than I gave her credit for. Or maybe she's dead. I wonder, do you
You
know?
have her in another box.
A box. Yes. Yes, it makes sense now, I suppose. You're Nathaniel Vale, if I'm not mistaken. My little problem in Goodyear. What a shame. You've come for answers, then, all of you. And what happens after that, I wonder.
Answers first. I think it really depends. It's funny that you would always talk about not knowing who to trust when you yourself have proven to not be trustworthy. So, let's take it step by step. Lovely copper sculpture, by the way. Or statue.
It was crafted by someone I met long ago. The remnants of a woman he knew. I didn't understand the significance at the time. Isn't that strange? How things just sort of pull us together over these long years.
Indeed. So it is unfortunate that we end up in this situation. The choices and the things that pull us together also seem to pull us apart.
If we're going to have a conversation, I must insist that we sit. There's a great many of things going on in this castle tonight. I think before I deal with the rest of them, I'm going to have a conversation with the four of you. I might enjoy a sit, a rest before what comes next. And he moves over and he turns one of the chairs that is facing toward the glass paneling of windows. And he sits, the skyline of Phoenix behind him. He gestures with the gun toward the chairs that are nearest all of you. Not in a sort of threatening way, but just sort of casually. And he sets it on an end table, a small metallic thing. And he sets the knife neatly in his lap.
Ida will look to her coterie. And there is a silent, it doesn't come from her mouth, but just this communication she gives of sit. And she will sit down in a chair and wait for them all to sit as well.
Lola will trepidatiously find herself in a chair.
Seeing that, and then seeing Montalvo sit down, the chair that I'm at, it's pointed towards the pool, right?
Correct.
I'm going to adjust it slightly so it's pointing towards Montalvo before sitting down and just, this is also good. It was quite the walk to even get here.
It was chosen very specifically. I came to this city. I thought it called to me, in a sense. Friday, do you sit?
Friday does sit. She's going to sit cross-legged on the floor, palms on the rocky ground.
I don't have much in the way of refreshment, but I'm sure I could scrounge something up. Are any of you hungry?
I can always eat. But I have special tastes.
We'll see what I can accommodate. And he takes out his cell phone. He types some things out with his thumbs. He sets it in his lap alongside the knife. He looks at all of you. He says, now that we are gathered as civilized kindred, what exactly would you like to ask me? And that is where we're going to take our break. We will see you all very shortly, very soon, for a conversation. See you soon.
When I first came to this country, I had nothing.
Have you come to kill me?
I am simply descended from survivors, and I always survive.
Life doesn't stop when you die. My blood is not welcome in Camarilla cities.
Did you love your mother?
Dearly.
I did too. I'm not a fan of father.
Crying takes more breath. I've learned that the hard way.
Fuck, Roman. Fuck.
Everyone has a voice in my Phoenix. Hello and welcome back to this episode of Bloom in Blood. We'll jump right back into it. We hope you guys had a good break, got some water, used the restroom, did all the stuff you guys needed to do. We'll jump right back into it, gang. Our coterie is seated across from Prince Montalvo, and he's asked them, what is it exactly that you'd like to ask me?
First of all, your connection with the Second Inquisition.
Before he answers, I'd like to know where, because there was some discussion outside of during the break, where is Kaida sitting? Next to Remy or elsewhere?
Kaida would have positioned herself so that her chair is next to Remy.
Understood.
And she's sitting very properly.
And Lola, you sitting nearby Kaida and Remy, or are you off to the side of them? I know Friday is cross-legged on the floor.
Oh, she's nearby. Right on.
Understood. He looks not at Remy. He looks at the empty chair where Friday could have sat. And he says, truth be told, I have no connection with the Second Inquisition. My only connection is that I have information on their dealings, on their secrets, on their business here.
And whoever gave you that information ended up giving you false information.
You speak of the crates. I had hoped to return Luis to her. Truly. But yes, I suppose, depending on if it was intentional or not, my information was false.
What were you hoping for?
To return Luis to Elena. In the hopes that she would leave. Promised her long ago that I would give her back her lover. I always intend to keep my promises, Miss Torres.
Then who gives you this information? And what hold do they have on you for you to have so perfectly maneuvered for the SI?
He shakes his head. I am afraid I can't offer you that answer, Remy.
Let's try something else then. The Sabbat that you offered a home, safety, and yet they were also burnt out of that home.
They were given hospitality. That was the word.
A regrettable experience.
So whatever you are still hiding, this information on the SI unfortunately has been a two-way street.
I had to keep Phoenix safe. And and you don't know what they're like. Anyone may feel free to make it what's an insight roll. And that is an invitation that will last throughout the entirety of this interaction. 3, a 4, a 5, 2 for my 4 and 5. It's not true. He didn't do it to keep Phoenix safe. Something is deeper there. This is a rehearsed lie, and you can hear it. It's something he's probably told himself in his quiet moments in this very room.
I'll smile as he says this and just, I'm sorry, Prince Montalvo. But just because I curate the arts doesn't mean I don't curate other form of the arts. I see when someone is talking to themselves in front of a mirror. I see it very clearly. What is the true reason?
He looks again at that chair. The empty chair, and he says, "You accuse me of lying in my own home."
Not necessarily accusing, but we come to an understanding, I would say.
If you pride yourself on being truthful, then be truthful.
Pride myself on doing what must be done, Miss Torres.
What are you protecting?
You,
Give.
Friday. You. And you, Kaida. And even you, Remy. All of you. That's who I'm protecting. I'm protecting this city from the tide that could wash over it.
Understandable.
Forgive my coterie. Prince Montalvo. They do not know the ways of our clan. What they are offering you is a chance. What do the young people call it? A safe space in which to divulge what burdens you. For we can all see you are heavily burdened.
It's me. And Kaida, you can go ahead and give me a manipulation persuasion roll, please.
Okay.
Take an extra dice from this, please, as the conversation with Remy is going to provide a help action to this.
Okay. I am going to rouse the blood, which is dangerous, but I'm going to do it. We get hungrier, so
What
we're
is
at
that?
4 hunger.
Or hunger.
We're at 4 hunger. So, but we get what we need. It is 5 successes.
5 successes, your hunger increases to 4, and you hear his voice in your ear. You're so close to answers. So close. Why don't you just take them like you did with her? You got flashes of her memories. Don't you want to know where I am? There's only so much that a sculpture can give you.
I will find out what's necessary in time.
Yes,
Enough.
yes, until you lose the opportunity. As you had so long ago. That's alright. See who walks out of this room, you or me. With 5 successes, Kaida, he looks to you and says, burdened. What burdens me would crush any individual. For If I were to tell you what I know, the secrets in this room alone, despite your age, he looks to the empty chair once more. You couldn't bear it. That's why you've forgotten. Do you think I've ignored you, Remy? Do you think that because I didn't choose you as Primogen, because I didn't come to you, that I didn't look at you? No. I know who you are. I know every kindred in my domain. And I know the things you have forgotten because you couldn't bear it. I know that the weight of what burdens me would crush any of you.
You don't get to decide that. As Prince, you have tried to protect us, and yet, throughout your stint as Prince, we have nothing but clouded doubts, fires, paranoia, promises that you say you intend to keep. But where's Louise? Where's Teodoro? For that matter.
I'm trying to hold the city together, Remy.
And you've alienated everybody trying to do so. Instead of letting us in, instead of letting even your own council in. Do you know who Renee is? Bringing them in as your Ventru Primogen.
When I learned,
Do you think they cared?
When I learned, I dismissed them. Name alone. In name alone, they are Primogen.
I feel like your entire council, even your Keeper of Elysium, your Sheriff, they only have titles and names, and they do not have access to anything that you hold. The reason why you say that burden, well, that we couldn't handle it, perhaps it's true. No one kindred could handle that burden. But we are supposed to be in a united front. We are all supposed to hold that burden together.
The tower stands as long as its prince does, Remy. Something that I think you should remember in your
Speaking
petty
of
play for
which,
power.
It's not mine. It wasn't mine in the first place, actually. It was from the entire incident. Everything that started this snowball. Do you remember a friend, Geraldo?
He looks once again at the empty chair. And there's no insight that's necessary, a flash of rage. Where is he?
The tower stands.
The tower stands. What lies did he tell you? What fabrications? Did he promise you a crown, Remy?
Regardless of what he promised, regardless of what happened in any of that situation, no prince needs to do this alone. That was what your Primogen were for. That was what your Keeper of Elysium is for. Your Sheriff. Yet you hold your Sheriff's lover as a bargaining chip, promising her, in her craze, obsession that you would get him back.
Who else?
What has
but
she
me,
been able to do?
Remy, would you have burned them? Would you have combed through their ashes to find their books and their rituals?
If
Would
needed.
you have lured them in to their deaths? Would you have stood by and listened to their screams? Could you?
I think
To chase what's ours? Always.
And she'll love you for it. Lily, you had
Who is
something.
she?
all Lola's kind of bad cop, for lack of a better word, expression softens and her head tilts to the side, and she looks sad. And she says, "You're committing to a self-fulfilling prophecy."
Yes. Of course I am. The prophecy
has
is
it
that
gotten
I'll
you?
be in the tower. Geraldo
Yes,
spun
what
you a
is-
story, I'm sure, of nepotism, of nothing given. I give more than he has every single night. He gave one. How many have burned in Phoenix? How many burned in Texas? New Mexico? How many burned everywhere?
Who is she?
She is the tower. And she'll love you.
You've given up your own people then.
They're not my people
Your cults.
anymore.
So then it wasn't a burden to hear their screams. To see their ashes. To comb through their ashes for their rituals.
I had to
They're not
keep
your
the
people
city
anymore.
safe.
From what?
Doesn't answer. He opens his mouth as if to say something, and he doesn't. He chokes on the words. Yes, Lola.
This is a stretch. He won't say, or he can't.
What's an insight?
4 successes.
4 successes. He can't. You have the luxury, Lola, of being free. Forever. He doesn't have that luxury. He's bonded. And there are certain things he just can't say.
You're bonded to her?
She holds the key.
All you
Who
want?
you were talking to in the phone?
His eyes dart to you, Friday. What? When
Friday
did
has
you-
that moment where she's like, I shouldn't have said anything.
Ida will meet Friday's eyes and just subtly lift her chin in a way to say, own it.
You watch Friday visibly stiffen, maybe isn't the word, but she becomes stonier. She actually stands up from her little spot on the ground. I was scouting to make sure that my coterie wasn't destroyed by the monster you have curled around one of the anarchs in the other room. And I saw the slaughter that you put your employees through. You don't think that the cops are going to hear about this? What was going on with the Second Inquisition was already a masquerade breach enough, and yet here we are, in the middle of a bloodbath. I think we have a lot more than just a couple of jumped-up bigots to worry about now. You've written our warrants. Here.
Her
We'll
name
all
is
be asked by
Esperanza,
sunrise.
and she is not a monster. She is what happens when I try to defy her.
Does the name ring any bells for me?
No.
Who is she to warrant all this bloodshed? An entire city's lifeline.
She was no one of consequence. She was the first person I found when I broke away from the path, when I thought I could earn my way in. She was just a woman. And then she used the gifts she took from me to change her.
So you yourself, a hostage, a puppet.
I am just a man. And he looks at you, Kaida.
Do you remember what I told you when we met that night?
Do you remember what I told you? It would crush you. They crush everyone that comes in this tower.
You are not just a man. You are a dragon.
No!
You have let them crush you, make you weak.
They've taken everything. She's taken everything. You want to know what's wrong with this city? You think it's fires, you think it's me. Whatever Geraldo promised all of you, a crown, it'll never be yours. A place in the tower, it will never be yours. I tried. I played by all their rules. I gave them everything they wanted. I'm not a dragon. I'm not a man. I was a god once! And stripped. They will take everything from you, even if it is divinity. So no, I don't think any of you could handle the knowledge that burdens me. I don't think any of you could sit where I sit. To smile. I tried. I had forgotten. Until I met you. And he looks at you, Kaida. I deigned to remember. I tried. To remember. And when I found a creature in the Renaissance, I knew I should kill it. I knew she would want it dead. But I thought maybe I could save one. Maybe just one wayward soul, one creature that doesn't fit their fucking vision. And she gave me a touchstone, warped and changed. A creature changed. That is what the tower does when you fail to meet their standards. A monster for a monster, she said.
Be one of us. Was she one of a pyramid?
She's like you. And he looks at the empty chair.
Interesting. Well then. I feel like we're at an impasse. Who is this woman? Her name. Not just that she represents any tower or whatnot, but... And how? How did you fall under her grasp?
Tell us, and maybe we can actually protect Phoenix.
Or the Camarilla decides that they need to step in.
Remy, go ahead and give me a manipulation persuasion. Take 3 extra dice for your companions having this conversation and adding this helpful actions.
Kaida is not looking at Montalvo in this moment. Her eyes are shifting back and forth. It's like she's looking at something that's not in the room, as if she's reading something, and she is trying to make the connections. She is like you, who is like me.
Go ahead and give
The
me...
mention of the statue, all that.
Go ahead and give me wits and insight.
Do I have a thing? But I'll wait.
Everyone's rolling. By all means, what's your thing?
That is 13 successes, y'all.
Oh my god. So, hey gang,
So that's what I'm good at.
I have 1 regular dice, and the rest are hunger dice.
I have a thing.
What's your thing?
Can I see Kaida's distressed state, take her
Probably.
hand, and force a premonition instead?
I'd
You
like to flavor something. So as you see that distress on her face, you see her shoulders start to curl over, and you see that like telltale sign of things shifting beneath her skin. And then, because I am at 4 hunger, I forgot to mention it earlier, she has stigmata. She starts to bleed from her eyes, from her ears, her hands. And as if a crown of thorns was embedded, she starts to ooze vitae from her forehead.
You may absolutely force a premonition.
Can she get a dice because she's fed on my blood?
No.
God damn it. I tried, Luna. I tried.
4 successes.
4 successes. With 13 successes from Remy on the questioning and trying to get the name, he's going to do his best to try to resist this bond. He's going to roll against it. With 5 successes on your premonition, Lola.
4.
It was 4.
4 successes. He looks at you and he looks to the empty chair, Remy. And vitae wells up the corners of his eyes as it begins to drip. Olivia. And Lola, your premonition. You see a woman hand connected to the strings, connected to Montalvo's back, his arms, the cord, held like a leash in her hand. In her fingers, she holds this long cigarette holder with filter. She's pale as a turquoise ring on her pinky. She wears a very nice, almost cream white suit. Her blonde hair is done up in a bun. Very tight, very thin and professional. Lipstick is red. Eyes a sharp, ice-like blue. You don't recognize this woman. But she holds his leash. You can see something's wrong with her. She's gorgeous. She's beautiful. And she grasps at things that are not hers.
Do I recognize the name at all?
I would require a wits and insight. Or rather,
Um,
I'll give you a choice of whether wits insight or wits and politics.
I'll do its insight. That's 3 successes, sorry.
3 successes. Heard about a toreador high up. The name Olivia doesn't mean a whole lot to you, but it is known in your clan. Almost like an art purveyor. Someone that is a whispered name that holds a lot of sway in your clan.
Lecter.
I see. You keep saying that we are not able to carry the burden that you do. That you were once a god, and still you're reduced to this. But unfortunately for you, there was never anything that stops you from letting someone else in to help with that burden. Truthfully now, I see the blood. I see the vitae. You're bonded with her.
I was supposed to be free.
And yet,
It would only take a few tasks.
tasks that set the city up to fall.
Not to fall.
Then what? I hope you understand, Montalvo. You might see it as protecting us, but having all of your council turn against you, having no allies in the city, no matter how high of a pedestal you have been trying to hold those floods, you are bound to fall. Without the help, without support.
We set you up to fail.
I was chosen because they trust me. Cain remembers one of their own. How gods lead you astray. Cain never came.
Oh, is
No.
a bad god. You wanted freedom, but were too scared to achieve it on your own, and were lured by a colonizer. You say she has the key. Key to what, Montalvo? The key itself, I'm willing to bet it is not hers. She stole it, and she stole you.
The tower would never let us free Atabe. Not without a sponsor, not without someone to stand by our side. And Kaida calls you a name that is not yours. Atabe.
I thought so.
You know, and for the sake of explanation for anybody who doesn't know, Atabe is a goddess.
I'm about to do something risky. Kaida gets up from her chair in hearing that name, and her whole demeanor shifts. The way that she walks is regal and ancient, and she walks towards him. And she grabs the bottom of his chin gently and tilts it up. You have lost your way.
Tried.
You've been made weak. Truth be told, the weak need only ask, and there will always be a helping hand. There should always be a helping hand. Do you know how fragile this Olivia has made you? I want to pity where you stand, where you sit. But you've dug your own hole.
Doesn't reply. He doesn't move his chin from your fingers either, Kaida. He tilts his head and kind of looks toward the empty chair as you talk, Remy. He listens.
I'll stand up. Without moving, I'll just... Ever since we came into the room, I didn't want to see that you were just merely that. A puppet, a hostage. I wanted you to be strong. Opposition, even. I didn't want... Where am I, Montalvo? Where have I been for you?
His eyes don't leave the chair.
And I'm going to turn off my Fata Morgana as the illusion of Remy sitting in that chair disappears, and I shift to where I am actually. As I walk, you're in this state.
It's often disappoint us, Remy. If you're going to take this city, if you're going to claim Phoenix, maybe not the murderer. Let me die as I once was. Let me remember this time.
I'll put a hand on Kaida's shoulder and just walk back.
Ida knows where he is from, who he was before it all. She cups his face, and she is going to drink.
Does anyone stop her?
No.
When she drinks, if you'll allow, she provides to him a vision of his home, his island, the music that was in the land, that was in his people. She allows for him to remember the sun. And like Atape, she allows him to remember the water, the power of his land.
And you do this as he remembers, as you drink. Even in the bliss, there is intent. And all of you see this as he takes his finger and traces along the front of his face, tearing into his flesh as he rips away the skin, exposing muscle tissue and raw meat. The skeletal structure, though, is gold. A golden skeleton as the flayed god is consumed. And Kaida, you see it. Just like with the Banu Hakim, you see flashes. A boy, just a boy on that island, running through the wilds. New people came that would call themselves the Mexica. As he lived, he grew, and he died. And then he ascended. He moved. He became more. He was a war god. A god of rebirth, of fertility, of bloodshed, and of sacrifice. And when they came to his island, he fought. He tried. Every one of his people he fought for. And still, they took from him. Distraught, he found more, maybe less. These newcomers brought something to him. The sword of Cain. And he thought he found purpose. And he served faithfully. The Cainites, the sword of Cain. You see the atrocities he committed. You saw his ascension. Well, we really call it ascension if a god falls into a worshiper. You see him become a priest of a god that is not his. And you see him conquered again by the tower and given a choice: integrate or die. And while his friend only gave his sire the link to his past, Montalvo went on to give so much more. Night after night, day after day, cycle after cycle, and season after season, he burned those that he used to call brothers. And he forgot. He shut them away. The thin man in the black suit with the red trim. He moved through this world. And he forgot. Until he met you. And you see yourself through his eyes. You know what was in his heart. He didn't come to you with good intentions. He was going to use you, just like everybody else. You were going to be his bulwark, so that maybe the Sabbat could die, not in a fire, but by the hands of a warrior. Maybe something could change. Maybe something would stop itching at his heart. Then you asked him where he was from, because you heard the accent that he had long since tried to kill. And he remembered. And he left you with contention and a war in his heart and questions. And he found another outcast in a hotel in Phoenix. And he thought, maybe if I just save one, they won't notice. She won't notice. But you hear the phone call after. A woman's voice yelling, telling him that a Ventru should own the hotel. This is not the way we do things in the tower. And he argued. He argued. Playing by their rules, he argued that she was there first, that she had been there before Renee took the hotel. By their own rules, it belonged to Friday. That's not the way things are done in the tower. And this woman took his only touchstone and, using gifts that he unwillingly had given her, changed her with flesh crafting and vicissitude, and gave her back to Montalvo. A monster for a monster. Continue your work. Lure out the Sword of Cain. Seize their artifacts. And kill them all. And so he got back to work. Back into what he was supposed to do. Because after Phoenix, he'd finally belong to the tower. She'd finally release the leash. He'd finally be free. It's that sight of freedom that kept him going, that muffled the screams, that blocked the smell of burning flesh. And all of you see the flayed god turn to ash and guide his mouth.
Almost to ash in her hands, and there is a moment of absolute silence. And then Kaida doubles over as if in extraordinary pain and lets out a monstrous scream. It is a scream of anguish and of fury. And when she rises her head up, she looks out of this paned window onto the city of Phoenix, blood tears falling down her face. And she simply says, "I will kill them all."
And as all of you look out into the landscape, into the skyline of Phoenix, we have crest out of November 1st and into November 2nd. And Phoenix feels like much more. There are more souls here. It is Dia de Muertos, and the spirits rise over Phoenix. And as you look to the past and stand in the present and must grapple with the future, this is where we will end this episode of Bloom and Blood. Thank you all for playing, and thank you all for watching. We are going to quickly go around before we end this episode. This was heavy, and I'll keep this in. I want to make sure that our viewers take some time to yourself, breathe, get some water. We love you very much. Thank you for joining us. But I want to make sure as well, even though we've checked our consent and everything, is everyone okay? Excellent. Then we're going to go around our table, let everyone know who you played, who you are, where people can find you. We'll begin in reverse order. Bottom right, Remy.
Hello, this is Astrus VTuber, or Aster. A bit of restructuring, unfortunately, for a lot of my stuff, but we'll get back out there, so you can find me. I'm assuming by the time this is happening, well, I've already been finished restructuring, but we'll see what happens. But I've been playing Remy, who still, I'm happy. I don't know what you're talking about. This has been an amazing story to have been able to tell, and I crafted a character specifically for this, and had, I guess, a lot of personal feelings about TTRPGs, about Vampire the Masquerade, a lot of personal experiences that weren't super positive that I also poured into this one, and had a wonderful time with a table of wonderful people that I'm very, very happy to be able to call my friends. And I can do nothing but look forward to the next crazy whack-ass story that we come up with some crazy whack-ass characters.
Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for playing. Going over to my bottom left, Lola.
Hi, I'm Luna, or Druid by Night. You can find me, as such, Druid by Night, on most social media platforms, including on Twitch, where I stream occasionally. I've been Lola Torres for this Chronicle, Bloom and Blood. and I'm simply speechless as I weep. So more thoughts to follow, probably on Blue Sky.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being a part of this. It's been truly a blessing. Going over to my top right, Kaida.
Hey, gang. We did it. We told the story. I am the Rissa Rave. You can find me all over the internet as such. Here on Rolling Nomads and other places. Just look me up. This has been a dream come true to play this character, to play this story with my friends. To everyone out there, and including my Boricuas out there, te amo.
Thank you so much for being here. It is an absolute blessing. Thank you. Last, but certainly not least, Friday.
Yep, she buddies. Goddamn, I'm fine. Goddamn. I'm enough of Abby at most places, but more importantly, I cannot wait to tell more stories about this coterie sometime soon, because goddamn, I've never been in such a powerful vampire group, spiritually, emotionally, storytelling wise. And that goes for you too, Ramos. Guess what? I'm gonna chase you around the dark with a claw hammer after this. Fuck you for making me cry like that. Thank you for
thought it was
letting me be
plural.
a part of this table. Oh no, I need one hand to wipe away my tears. The other one, I'm gonna have the claw hammer in hand. Thank you for telling stories with me, guys. Thank you for letting me tell stories with you.
Thank you so much for being here. And this table has been a dream come true. I truly couldn't imagine, I couldn't fathom how wonderful this is going to turn out. You guys are wonderful. Thank you so much for, I've said it on for promotional stuff. I've said it a couple times offline to you guys. This turned from a chronicle that was built during a time where I was really upset and really just angry at the world for everything that was going on. And it turned a chronicle that was born of rage into something that is full of love. Thank you guys for everything. And thank all of you for watching. Truly, this is the most important story that I've ever been able to sit at a table and tell with some lovely people and wonderful, wonderful role players. We will catch you guys for the epilogue. Same time, same place, same kindred. We'll see you then.